evictions now! Stop 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 evictions now!
I'm Theresa Flandrich, and I've lived here on Lombard Street for 32 years and raised my son here. We are a building of 6 units where we were a community with my previous landlady, Virginia, who passed away at 96. And her niece inherited the building, and I don't know what she intends to do with the building, but right now there are 4 empty units. And just Silvio over here and I are left in the building, and Silvio grew up in North Beach. He's second generation North Beach. His children and his grandchildren live 5 blocks away, and he's 68. He's a Vietnam vet who's partially blind, and so it would be really good for him to stay in his home of 18 years. I received the Ellis Act in April of 2013. Ellis Act is the state law that if you are a landlord and want to go out of the business of being a landlord, that you can evict everyone. But you first have to become a landlord, don't you? Normally.
Is she a landlord?
She doesn't live here. She lives in Southern California. And
Okay, let's walk through.
I don't know. I mean, I took care of her aunt for the last 5 years of her life. We all came together as a unit in the building to look after her so that she could remain in her home when she became homebound. 91 when she broke her arm and became homebound. 96 is when she died.
So this is how they're treating her.
Yes. And that's not North Beach. North Beach tradition is the landlady lives there, some of the family members live there, and then there are tenants. This is a working class neighborhood. The buildings were built in order to house the people that worked here. And you became family. You became a real community within the building and around.
What does it say about the politicians? It seems like they're allowing Airbnb and all these.
Well, this is it. There are 21 vacation rentals. Just not even in 3/4 of a block here, okay? And there are, my 88-year-old neighbor had been looking for a place to live. There was a 4-unit building that had been vacated in order to do vacation rentals. There's an 80-year-old down on Chestnut Street who's been looking for a place. He also received an Ellis Act. Wants to stay in his community. He is your classic Italian immigrant story, coming here at 17, laying brick and mortar to rebuild the city, then working as an escort with the police department, escorting seniors, 25 years, and he's being evicted. This is his community. He's a poet. Is there a place for him to live? No, because 21 units right here are vacation rentals.
Why are you here today? What's your name?
Isaac, and that's my mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no. Is that what's happening here?
Yes. Unless there's something we can do about it. She's trying to throw out our grandpa, so maybe she wants the house or she wants more money, I guess.
So why are you here today? What's this elderly being?
Well, that's my dad, Silvio. His daughter, Rachel, and the landlady's trying to evict them out of the building, Ellis acting. She doesn't even live in San Francisco, actually. She lives down south in LA. It's very nasty, very negative. She just wants more money, and these poor people have been here their whole lives. My father's lived here 20 years, the lady I think longer, but San Francisco natives, veterans, they just throw everybody out. Throw you out like nothing.
And what should be done about it, do you think?
I think it needs to stop. I think anybody elderly should absolutely, over 65, that's it. You can't be thrown
The
out.
landlord could wait.
Well,
The poor landlords.
I get it, but it's just, the woman who owned this building was so wonderful and was wonderful friends with my dad, and he took care of her. They were good friends. Honestly, she's like turning in her grave because these aren't even her daughters that are doing this. This is her niece, and to come up and just to throw people out there's no reason for it. She actually also has a beautiful place she can live upstairs, because when the poor lady passed at 92, And again, I feel also if you own the building at the age, at a nice age, maybe put it in your will that the people can't come in and throw the tenants out like this.
And how much do they want to raise the rent?
There wasn't even a matter of raising the rents. She just wants everybody out, I think. It's not even a matter, because we probably have rent control. You can raise it to a certain limit, or I don't know if it's 3% or whatever it is, if they choose to. And again, she never raised the rent on my dad. It was wonderful, wonderful people. And she's probably turning in her grave right now that this is happening. And I think that it should be that if you're a landlord or you're, just maybe let the tenant stay. Don't, you don't have to throw them out, or, because she wouldn't want it. She wouldn't have wanted this. She wouldn't have wanted this.
What do you think is happening in San Francisco with all of it over the Bay Area? People being told they can't afford to live here?
We can't afford to live here. We can't. I'm in a 1-bedroom with 3 kids. Husband, 3 kids. It's the truth. I cannot afford to, and I will stay here because I love my city. I'm a native. I'm 40 years old. I don't want to leave. I love my dad. I love my family. We're born and raised in, I'm born in San Francisco, and now we're all raised in North Beach. And I want them to live that life. But we got to live it in a small apartment. And now new studios are going for $3,000 a month. A studio in North Beach is going for $3,000 a month. No parking. Now they're saying there's nothing they can do, so I just feel we have to do something. Maybe just keep doing this.
Do you think there should be a moratorium on evictions?
Absolutely. I think there's, somebody needs to be in control of something. Somebody has to be in control of this, because it's sad. I don't know where my dad's going to go. It's upsetting. And it hurts my feelings. And I don't know why she would do this. There's just no reason to.
She lives in Los Angeles.
I believe she lives in Los Angeles, doesn't even live here. And again, it was her auntie that owned this building. And it was left to the 2 nieces, I believe. And then, there was just no need for this. No need. And it's very sad. It's just very sad. And this has happened all over the city. Elderly people, and more so it's just elderly people too. Veterans, disabled. I mean, come on. Where are we going to go? Nowhere. How are we going to, do anything? It's very sad. I'm fighting back. I'm fighting back, and I'm fighting hard.
Since 2000, over 8,000 people in the Mission, just in the Mission District alone, have been forced out. Priced out, Ellis out, these low-fault eviction notices for hanging your laundry in the windows. It was the lip service. The lip service he gave in trying to change the Ellis. He appeared once up in Sacramento, and that was it. It is only paying lip service. It is never even doing anything about it. And the speculation, it's a lot of foreign investors that are coming in, buying up our rent-controlled buildings. So the working class, the real people, the regular San Franciscans can't even live here.
Nan McGuire. One of the reasons Mayor Lee allows that is one of his biggest financial supporters is an investor in Airbnb. Ron Conway.
What's his relationship with the mayor?
Very close. Very close. I don't know how that came about, but it's quite obvious from things that the mayor does or doesn't do relative to these problems that Mr. Conroy has a very close relationship with him. And the rumor is that the person he picked to replace David Chu when he went off to Sacramento, Julie Christensen, was picked really by Conroy, or not really, partly.
This gentrification or displacement, do you think that's really a threat to the survival of people?
It's not only a threat to the survival of the people who it affects, but it's a threat to the survival of San Francisco as many of us know it, where we have very diverse neighborhoods. Now, if you're talking about Pacific Heights or Seacliff, no, they're not. That's not very diverse. That's all 1% kind of. Or 35 years. I moved here from the East Coast in 1980.
Are you afraid of being forced out?
Well, I am fortunate enough to own my own condo, so nobody can force me out. but I don't like what I see happening to my neighbors.
You don't want to see your neighbors forced out of their home.
Right. Well, I don't really want to see anybody forced out of their home just so somebody can make more money, whether they're my neighbor or not. It's happening in other neighborhoods too.
My name is Diana Ping. I get to work with our international hotel seniors every day. That's over 150 seniors. Their average age is 79 years old, and in 1977, their brothers and sisters were evicted, forcibly evicted, like Tony and what Caroline said, from their homes. But 10 years ago, the iHotel has risen. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, and we're standing in solidarity with our neighbors in the North Beach today. I'd like to invite all the iHotel tenants over here. And I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Lau, our representative, who will say a couple of words.
大家好，我同埋我哋10幾個同事啦，而家都係國際大廈嘅住客。我哋喺呢度表示堅決支持 Theresa 同埋 Silvio 對呢個無良業主嘅逼遷，堅決要對抗。我哋想到我哋國際大廈喺幾十年前呢，曾經有咁嘅遭遇。
Hi, my name is Mr. Lau, and I'm representing the iHotel seniors along with my other colleagues here today. We stand in firm solidarity with Theresa and Silvio over this unreasonable Ellis Act eviction. We too have been forcibly removed in 1977. It's good to hear this.
Nadia Williams. I live here in the neighborhood for 23 years. And this zip code in San Francisco, 94133, that the evicted person lives in and that I live in, it has more evictions than any other zip code in San Francisco. So this is primo property. And this neighborhood has really been hit terribly hard with landlord and real estate and developer greed. And initially, when the eviction started several years ago, they evicted many poor seniors, mostly Chinese people who didn't really speak English, who didn't know the laws, who couldn't defend themselves. These people were kicked out without a dime. What's happening more lately is that landlords will pay off tenants if the tenants protest, but it's giving them money that might help them move someplace else. But they're so rich, this money is chump change to them, and in the end, ultimately, it's destroying the tenants' community, the sense of community, their ability to live in a neighborhood where they've lived in many years with their friends, and it's diminishing the whole culture of not only North Beach but of San Francisco. The artists, the poets, the seniors, the students, the young people, the creative people, the political activists, good people who pay their rent, but can't afford to live in this city anymore. It's becoming a rich man's town. Nobody has a problem with an individual tenant making some money. That's how some people, the only way they can afford to keep their apartments is to rent them out a couple of weeks a year, live with a son or a daughter, or sleep on the couch of a friend. No one has a problem with that. But the Airbnb is an open door to this kind of greed that we're seeing with the rents, where a developer real estate company will buy a bunch of apartments, and it's essentially a hotel, and they're not paying hotel taxes at all. I call Mayor Lee Rubber Stamp Lee. He rolls over for the big money, and that's just plain and simple. We need a good board of supervisors. We need a decent mayor who will stand up for the people, like Art Agnos in the past. We've had a few. And we need a good board of supervisors that will also not be bought off. So the candidacy of Aaron Peskin for my District 3 supervisor is extremely important on the board of supervisors.
The corruption crisis, all the charges of corruption of Ed Lee and politicians in San Francisco? Do you think
Yeah.
it has something to do with
I think it does. I think America has the best democracy money can buy, and that certainly trickles down to states and cities and counties and locally. What's happening nationally is happening locally. It's big banks, it's big corporations that are the owners and the rulers, and the citizens who live here don't have a voice.
Just talking, it's partly because of all the unfair advantages given to certain companies, like not having to pay taxes, and their buses getting to stop, their private buses getting to stop in public spaces and not getting fined, and basically the city bending over backward for some people rather than other people.
You think the city's for sale?
Absolutely. I mean, all cities are for sale under capitalism. The job of people's movements is to make sure they're not for sale. If it's not for us, they'll sell everything. We have to make them not. That's what we're trying to do.
And what do you think should be done to stop the evictions and the displacement?
I think that we should have much stronger rent control. I don't think that housing is something that should be treated. It's arguably the most important industry in the city. What is a city except for a bunch of buildings, right? And if you don't have the people who control the buildings, the planning commission and the city government, that's an incredibly important thing. I mean, and I think we should have the strongest rent control in the country, way stronger than we have now.
Do you think there should be a moratorium on evictions?
Absolutely. Can they do that? They do lots of things. Things that people think were impossible not so very long ago, like Republican politicians in the early 70s talked about nationalizing the oil industry because they were worried about OPEC. So sure, we can do some sort of we can with the political will is there. The political will is not there, and we have to make the politicians do it. They'll never do things on their own.
These property owners and capitalists should have a right to evict people?
No.
What about property rights?
What about what?
Property rights.
Well, then if we have property rights, I have a right to stay in my house. If I'm there, I believe in sort of ownership by use. You know what I mean? I actually don't think that, frankly, people should own anything they don't live in. That's not. I don't own it. I live in a very small place. That's all I need. I don't see any reason I should have to leave. If there's property rights, I want mine. It's like, wait, what is it they say? There is class consciousness in the United States. It's the wealthy have it, and there is class war, but it's being waged by the wealthy down, and we're winning it. And the people talking about property rights, it's like, I want my property rights. My property rights are you can't kick me out of where I live. It may not be my property, but our landlord has made plenty of money off of us over the years, and so I think in general right now in the world we have to rethink a lot of things. We have to rethink our relationship with land and food and water, obviously. And there's nothing wrong with rethinking our relationship to houses and property. I live in Soma. So we're in the middle of a boom. Everyone wants to build condos there and tear things down, and it's a wonderful kind of neighborhood that I think you need in a city. It's what they call a mixed-use neighborhood. It's light industrial. There's places that repair cars. I want all that stuff in a city. Places that repair your glass windows. There's places that sell different kinds of tools, light industrial, and I don't want that to be. We need that in a city. Hardware stores, the guys who do neon lights, the printing places, mass printing, First California Printing's on the corner from me. I like all that stuff. It shouldn't be, we need to have it in a city. It makes a healthy city. You should be able to drive a short distance to get something printed for your business, or, get your, or like there's two places that sell casters, like wheels, if you want to put together a cart for some AV project. Oh yeah, there's two big film and video stores. Like that's, we need all that stuff in a city. You can't tear it all down to build condos that people aren't even living in. That it's the Airbnb-ing, they're like privately run hotels or something. Yeah.
Stop evictions now! Stop evictions now! Stop evictions now! Stop evictions now!
My name is Ann. Well, I'm here from the Mission because, this is happening all over San Francisco, but the Mission and North Beach and the neighborhoods that are most attractive are being hit the hardest. There are a lot of tourists, sure, and they want to stay in this neighborhood. It's a lot of Airbnb, that's ways to get around rent control. But the thing about the Ellis Act is they are wholesale emptying whole buildings. Many of these buildings here in this neighborhood have been completely emptied of longtime tenants. It's really there has to be a better way. What can I say? Annlia gets a lot of money from Ron Conway. It's certainly a way to get around rent control. Just in the 2015 Conference on Aging at the White House, the Director of Health and Human Services said that older people are not going to be able to find affordable housing, and that's what's happening. The older San Franciscans are losing their home one by one by one by one, and there's no one keeping track of it.
Elder abuse to evict long-time tenants, especially when they're elders or they're disabled. They live there for a long time. They've got a network of support, friends, medical care, everything in the neighborhood. If you uproot them, it has really dire consequences. It affects them greatly.
Robert Dodd. She gets her money by studying people who live to be old, over 90. Well, the lady that died in here was 88. I guess she doesn't get to qualify for the study because she didn't hit 90. The money is she's making money from the federal government to study old people and killing old people at the same time.
What do you think is running San Francisco right now?
A money mafia.
Anita Hill, who's in town to evict these tenants, inherited this building from her aunt. And what she does is she's a researcher who studies seniors. She studies what makes people live long, productive lives past 90. There's nothing more ironic than her to turn around and her to evict this building. She's already got a number of the tenants out of this building. There are 2 apartments left. If anyone should know the effects on seniors, it's someone who professionally their whole life has studied what makes seniors live long, productive lives. She should know better and know that what does not is evicting seniors.
My name is Tony Robles. I'm on the board of Manilatown Heritage Foundation. This is really a fight for North Beach. It's a fight for the neighborhood. We have a landlord who, on the one hand, says that she cares about and researches on the quality of life of seniors past the age of 90. But on the other hand, evicts tenants, particularly Elaine Turner, who was 88 years old, who subsequently died. And let's just call this out for what it is.
Yes.
That eviction killed Elaine.
Yes, it
did. The reason that
Yes,
Elaine died was because of that eviction.
Yes, it did.
And the eviction of our elders, the eviction of our families by these speculators who are acting really with impunity, with an unconscionable lack of consciousness, is killing the fabric, the families, it's killing the elders of this city. And San Francisco is becoming less human. It's becoming an app.
Yep.
I mean, don't you all feel that?
Yes.
It feels so impersonal. It feels so cold. It doesn't feel like home. The air is just thick with this toxic mindset, this toxic way of thinking that's killing us. It's draining us day after day after day. Now, August 4th was the 38th anniversary of the eviction of the I Hotel. And the elders from the I Hotel drew a line on that day saying, we're going to be able, if we go one way, it's going to just be downhill. It's going to be less human. If we go the other way, we can forge something different. And that's what we're doing today. This is for the community. I mean, I work with Theresa Flandrich, and she wasn't somebody that just said, fuck it, I'm going to pack it up and leave. She fought back. She started the North Beach Tenants Committee. She took the bull by the horn, because that's what San Franciscans do.
Yeah.
When they're up against the wall, that's what San Franciscans do. That's what people from the neighborhood do, because we care about each other. We're connected to each other. And what was true back in 1977, 38 years ago, is true on this corner. Theresa Flandrich and Silvio live with the spirit of the I Hotel, the spirit of the elders, the spirit of community, the spirit of us looking out for each other.
Yeah.
Because these speculators and people like Hill, they don't give a damn about our community, and we need to have people that do care about our community be in the community. Not short-term rental people, not people that are preying upon us and killing us day after goddamn day. So we're behind Theresa and Silvio in their struggle to keep their homes in North Beach, to keep their homes, their working class homes, their working class stories, their working class spirits, and which is the spirit of love, which is the spirit of North Beach, which is the spirit of San Francisco.
Thank you.
Well, several things. Robert Dodd.
Marla Knight.
What happened to you?
Well, I have a success story actually. About 2 years ago, our building was sold by our long-term landlords to Urban Green Investments, and within 1 week we received a note of their intent to evict us and turn the apartments into TICs. And then 4 weeks after that, we got a formal Ellis Act eviction. Over the year, we were able to get a year extension, and over the year we got several offers to buy us out, but really lowball. I mean, you could do the math. You knew that you were going to last maybe 4 months in the city. So our building is a big building, 14 units. There were 3 vacant units in the building at the time of the sale. Had been vacant for years for reasons we never knew why. The building had been paid for outright since '55 apparently. Anyway, so we kept turning it down, these offers, and then the day before we were to vacate, they rescinded the eviction because they knew it was going to be a big battle because we were extremely vocal. During that time, Theresa Flandrich and I formed the North Beach Tenants Committee because at that time there were 22 of us were being evicted from one block of Lombard. Anyway, so they rescinded it, and then in October of last year, we were bought by some really nice people, native San Franciscans, who fixed up the building cosmetically and the 3 apartments, rented them for quite a lot of money, and they are old-time landlords, and they just said, we're not evictors, this is a long-term investment, and they're great people. So there are good landlords, and they're not greedy. It was good enough for them to be able to rent out 3 apartments for high prices.
There are a lot of tourists in this neighborhood.
That's a huge issue. Our North Beach Tenants Committee, we've been working on that too, because there's one building down here on Tuscany that this guy, he doesn't live there, but he rents out the buildings, short-term rentals, and it's a 4-unit building, exclusively short-term rentals. And we blew the whistle on him, but DBI came by and he said, "Oh, I'm not doing that anymore." And they just, they didn't pursue it. And who do I think is running? I think that the money is running the city, and it's coming from tech people, developers. A lot of the money is coming from outside the city.
So they're not enforcing the law?
No, they say with this new law for the short-term rentals that enforcement will work, but they refuse, up until this point anyway, to get the necessary data in order to make the enforcement. You got to get the data from the people who are making the money, like Airbnb and the other platforms. And without the data, it's unenforceable. I hate to be cynical about this whole thing, but I think what's going to happen is Share Better, which you probably know about. Share Better has put forth an initiative, and it'll be on the ballot. It's with strict regulations. I'm not categorically against short-term rentals, but I think more than 75 days a year for one place is too much because it's ruining the neighborhood. And people I reared my children here. Yeah, it is. The short-term the short-term rentals and even the legislation as it stands now has effectively rezoned the whole city into commercial/resident. Yeah, it's a huge issue. We're working with, Share Better is working with Share Better New York. There are cities who have just banned, this is worldwide, like Berlin has banned it. And we have some of the most lax enforcement of short-term rentals of anyone. And we've got to make it more strict because, I don't know, I'm a fifth generation San Franciscan, and I have a lot of skin in the game. And this is bad. It's going to become the city will become like Disneyland. It's going to be the facade of the city, and the people that made this city great are having to move out. We need all kinds of people in the city, not just upper middle class white people.
My name is Fred Scherpenzimmer, and I went down to UC Irving with a group of people from Tenants Together. The statewide tenants group helped us at Housing Rights organize a protest in SoCal against this landlord. We road tripped down there, and we got up early in the morning and took the eviction equals death banner and brought it in front of her house. And had the megaphone and explained to her neighbors what exactly she was doing and put flyers on all of their cars. Supportive, and some of them came and yelled at us and called the cops. And we just continued moving on and stayed there until we moved on to UC Irvine, and then protesters in tenants from LA who are being Ellis Act by 3 different landlords in LA. And in LA they use the Ellis Act to demolish buildings. And so they're Ellising them to demolish them. And those tenants are fighting back, and they came down to UC Irvine. And Claudia, who's being evicted here in San Francisco, was on vacation visiting family, and she came down to the protest. And a tenant in Santa Ana who's trying to start a tenants group there where they don't have just cause eviction or rent control at all, and her neighbors are being pushed out, came down, and we protested in front of the university, in front of the neurology research. Thank you, San Franciscans, for being here. Thank you, all of you. This is an amazing community we have in this city, and we need to protect each other. Right, Jack?
Yeah!
We need to help keep everyone in their home.
Yeah!
We have built families here, and we are not going to let those be destroyed. We need to stay together. And we are an amazing city, but let's not let them destroy us community by community. Let's keep fighting and stay together. We all deserve the best because we're really good people, and we need to keep helping each other and look out for our neighbors, and that's a community.
Stop the evictions now! Yes, right there! Stop the evictions now!